and welcome to another episode of Tearing Up Your Bible. I have my tea, I have my Bible, and we're ready to go. We are going to continue on our short series of helping you pick out your next Bible. In this video, we're going to be talking about what if you know that you want a lot of space in your new Bible to take notes. Do you want to go with a journaling Bible, or do you want to go with a wide margin Bible? While they are very similar, there's also a lot of differences as well. And comparing and contrasting the pros and the cons of both may very well help you pick out your next Bible. So I want to start here with the journaling Bible. I'll talk about the pros real quick. The biggest pro, and the first pro, is going to be these wide single margins on the outside of a journaling Bible. Oftentimes they are lined, and oftentimes they are fairly wide. This is going to give you a lot of space to take your notes, and if you are like me and you like things neat and orderly, the lines keep everything nice and neat for you. Generally speaking, the next thing that's really good is the paper quality. While these are fairly inexpensive usually, they generally have paper that is pretty good for writing on. It is both thick and sometimes manilla'd in some degree, kind of help give that a little bit of contrast. But even though it's an inexpensive Bible, they know that you're going to be taking notes in it, and they oftentimes give you a pretty good paper quality. The next thing I mentioned already is that it's generally inexpensive. I know a lot of people have a hard time picking up a premium Bible or a more expensive Bible and then just kind of going to town, tearing up their Bible with pens and markers and highlighters. And publishers know that. And so a lot of journaling Bibles are fairly inexpensive. A lot of people kind of have the idea that they're going to go through their Bible maybe once or twice, make a lot of notes, and then maybe start off with another Bible the next time. And so they're not really going to be entirely invested monetarily in an expensive Bible. And so journaling Bibles can usually be picked up pretty cheap, especially if you go to like christianbook.com. Those really do help out quite a bit. Another thing that is a pro in some people's minds is you can usually find them both in single column and double column format. And if you want either a single column, or if you are like me and really like double column format, you can usually find a journaling Bible in either one of those. And sometimes, as is the case with this one, I had another Bible that had the same pagination, that the page layout in this Bible is the exact same page layout in another one of my favorite Bibles. In this case, they just have the journaling section next to it. So when I switched from one Bible into this Bible, I was able to keep the exact page layout and just have this wide margin on this side. I think that's a pretty great thing for this particular Bible. Another pro in my mind is that I don't have to write in the gutter of this. The space right here is called the gutter, and I find it to be really difficult to write neat and orderly on wide margin Bibles in the gutter. And because this has this nice wide margin on the outside, there's no need to write in the gutter for this Bible. So with all those pros of it having a nice wide margin, that it usually comes with pretty good paper even though it's fairly inexpensive, that it is available usually in single column or double column, there's also some cons as well. Generally speaking, there is not as much space in a journaling Bible as there is in a wide margin Bible. Now, it is true that the margin in a journaling Bible tends to be wider on the one side, but you also don't have a large margin on the bottom in the gutter or on the top. And so what you gain on the one side, you kind of lose everywhere else. If you are dealing with a double column Bible like this one, it's a lot harder to make notes that are directly connected to your passage if you're looking at the inside column rather than the outside, which is why I have my color code system just for me, so that whenever notes are made on the inside column, the notes out in the margin are the exact same color, so visually I'm able to tag them together. But that is something to note. If you want your notes directly next to the text that you're notating about, then this is probably not going to be the best of all options. I would also say that as a con for those who would care about it, journaling Bibles are not always available in premium offerings. Since most journaling Bibles are fairly cheap to start with, publishers don't always make them in a premium format with a really nice leather cover or with a really nice binding or even slightly better and upgraded paper. That's not always an option. So that is some cons. So I want to talk about the Wide Margin Bible. This is the one that we have been working through together. These are the notes that we took on Timothy a couple weeks ago. And for the pros of a Wide Margin Bible, you have a lot more space on the top, on the bottom, on both sides. Now, all of the margins in this particular Bible are all smaller than my journaling Bible, but together they give you a lot more space. That leads to one of the next parts, which is a closer link between the notes on the inside column and the outside column without having a crossover notes. You can also get these in premium Bibles. There are some premium Bible publishers that you can buy a good wide margin from with a variety of options of paperweight, variety of options of size. There's a lot of good options for a wide margin Bible. One of the other things I would like to talk about is, for some people, a pro and some people a con. While the journaling Bible usually has lined notes on the side, you can really have a free format on the outside of a wide margin Bible. You're not constrained by lined sections for you to take notes in. For some people, that's a pro. For some people, that is a con. But you have a much more free format on a journaling Bible, or a wide margin Bible, than you do a journaling Bible. On the cons for a wide margin Bible, you have to write in the gutter, generally speaking. If you do not enjoy writing on the inside here in the gutter, that is something you have to kind of consider when you're making your decision. For another con to consider is that there is various paper qualities inside of wide margin Bibles. I have found wide margin Bibles that have extremely thin paper, and I have found wide margin Bibles that have really good paper as well. If you're going to be buying online, that can be very tricky sometimes to know what kind of quality of paper you're getting before you purchase. And I just highly suggest, if you're going to pick up a wide margin Bible, to do your very best to handle it in person before shelling out the cash for it, just to make sure that you like the quality of paper that you're getting. On the con, since these are offered sometimes in a premium format, they can be a bit more expensive. Now, you can get wide margins that are inexpensive, but you can also get wide margins that are rather expensive as well. And so if you're looking for your next one and you don't really want to spend a ton of money on it, and you look at some wide margins and you see them being exorbitantly expensive in your mind, don't get discouraged immediately. Know that you can get cheaper ones, but they also can be expensive as well. And if it is a bother to you to have smaller columns, that's something to consider as you look at the options between the two. Some people may enjoy one single, much wider column to take notes, as opposed to smaller but more columns and more space to take notes. Those are some things to consider. So those are the basic pros and cons of the journaling and the wide margin. I personally like both of them. I have spent a lot of time in journaling Bibles over the last couple of years, and now that I have been working through a wide margin with you guys, I'm really enjoying this particular Bible as well. I love the fact that I have a lot more space to take notes throughout the page. I love that I can put my notes directly next to my columns as well. When it comes to my journaling Bible, I love that it's inexpensive. I love that I have a lot more space on my wide section, and I love the lined notes section so that I can keep all my notes nice and neat and straight in order, just to kind of appease my OCD. Just take some time, be thoughtful and mindful of what you're going to be choosing. Hopefully, Lord willing, you get to stick with this Bible for a number of years, and someday go ahead and give that to somebody else as well as a blessing to them. I hope that whenever you pick out your next Bible, this has been helpful to you, deciding whether you want a journaling or a wide margin Bible. I hope this has been a blessing, and I hope that you have a blessed week. I'll see you next time.